Hello, everyone. I'm Alicia Cunha, along with Joey Jones, Tommy Lahren, and Joe Concha. And welcome to the Big Saturday Show. The big story tonight is a Fox News alert. Another object spotted by NORAD over Canada. And Lucas Tomlinson is live at the White House with what we know. Hi, Lucas.
Hi, Alicia. That's right. NORAD putting out a statement just moments ago saying another mysterious high-altitude object has been discovered on radar, this time flying high over Canada. It's not clear when or where this was first picked up. NORAD saying in a statement, quote, military aircraft are currently operating from Alaska and Canada in support of North American Aerospace Defense Command and NORAD activities. NORAD confirms that we have positively identified a high-altitude airborne object over northern Canada. NORAD refused to offer any more specifics. This is the second object detected in the Arctic since Thursday night. A senior U.S. official tells Fox that object was not detected until it had already successfully penetrated U.S. airspace over Alaska and then shot down by an F-22 Raptor launched from Elmendorf Air Force Base in Anchorage. Right now, U.S. Army Chinook helicopters like this on skis are combing the area off the rugged north coast of Alaska. The temperature right now on that frozen tundra, minus 20 degrees. NORAD says the limited daylight and rough weather is limiting the search. Now, that object was shot down over Prudhoe Bay, home of North America's largest oil field. Of course, Alaska also home to a U.S. Army unit and Air Force Base, and also Fort Greely, home of U.S. ballistic missile interceptors, guys.
Okay, so Lucas, a quick question here. We've had two objects and one spycraft, confirmed spycraft. Why are we having trouble picking these objects up on radar?
Well, bottom line, officials tell me, Alicia, that satellites are having trouble picking this up. Remember, our airborne satellites in space are used to discover ballistic missile launches, like out of North Korea, other places. You know, when things go boom, those are IR birds floating in space. They have lots of things, you know, in their memory banks. Right now, balloons is just not what these satellites are programmed to discover. The satellites are used to count, you know, aircraft, airplanes on different bases and over Russia, China, you know, missile silos in China, and of course over Ukraine. Right now, these spy objects, they appear to only be discovered based on ground-based radar. Of course, the curvature of the Earth is going to limit what that radar can see. Alicia?
Lucas Tomlinson live at the White House with the latest update. Thank you so much, Lucas. So we're going to continue to discuss this here. Joey, I'll begin with you because here we go again.
Yeah, you know, I had a great idea of what I thought was happening here, and then something happens and it really changes your mind, or it makes you question, and it makes me wonder, is that where Joe Biden is right now? See, does he think he has it figured out and then something else happens? My question is, or my concern is, when the spy balloon was outed by Billings Gazette or whatever it was, they act like they knew exactly what they had there. So either they were bluffing, and as that bluff is unfolded to not be true, mainly because we now know, thanks to a hearing that's already happened, that they weren't able to jam the signals of that balloon, which makes it traversing across our country much more of a concern. So either they're worried to give any detail until they figure it out, or they know more about these latest two incidences, and they actually are more concerning, and that's not why they're telling us.
Right, and Tommy, Joey brings up a great point there, because right now, we're not getting that much out of the Biden administration, right? And the question really is, you know, are they trying to protect us from something that they know, or do they really not know?
Or do they have to say something every time they see something now? And maybe they've seen a lot of things, but now, because they were outed by the Billings Gazette, as you mentioned, Joey, with that spy balloon, now I feel like they have to say something every time they see something because Americans are on high alert, which opens up the question of how many other objects have flown through our airspace and have been concerning that we don't know about? That would be my first question here. And then also, are we going to get transparency out of this White House? Because, as you mentioned, they're burying the lead when it comes to a lot of this. They're kind of just skimming over it. The American people care about this kind of thing. We care about whether it's Chinese aggression or anybody else. I mean, open it up. The world is looking at us right now like a sitting duck. So I want to know, are we ever going to get information? Will there ever be transparency? There's a lot of distrust of our government organizations, and rightfully so. I hope they can correct that.
Let's call the A block the trust segment, shall we? Because they knew about that first spy balloon the minute it was approaching the Alaska coast. We know that because now they've spotted two and told us about it, to your point, right away. And John Kirby did not even announce that they saw that second object that we were talking about yesterday until a reporter asked him. And so you have to ask, Why?
Right.
Why did it take a question for Kirby to reveal that information when he should have been saying that the minute he walked up to that podium? And then you have the President of the United States, and I'll leave it here, saying that the spy balloon, despite traversing across our country, going over ICBM sites and overhearing conversations that it could surveil, the president had the audacity to say it wasn't a major breach. Apparently it was, Alicia.
And to excuse it with a term like, oh, there's all kinds of, it happens all the time.
Right.
No.
Yeah. Okay, so we're just getting an update now on this new, this airborne object. We are getting reports that Canada has now shot this down. So that's the latest. And that's interesting timing, how quickly we got that, right, Joey? Like, we find out about it, the NORAD finds it, and then Canada shoots it down. Like,
well, my comment before the show was, is Canada, do they have capabilities? Because NORAD's telling them it seems like everything that comes through comes around Canada. We're not hearing anything from them. Obviously, now we know they have that capability, thank God. And where does this go from here? Now 2 countries are involved. And China can't hide behind it if this is their aircraft, which I don't know either one of these are, the last 2. They can't hide behind this idea that we are overreacting 2 or 3 or 5 times.
Right, because that's the easy argument, right, that we're overreacting. But as an American just sitting at home and you're seeing these and they keep coming up one by one,
right.
What's the average American supposed to think about all this?
The average American feels very vulnerable with this president in the White House, whether they're willing to admit it or not. But you brought up something that I think is really important.
Thank you.
Topic for discussion.
There's a lot of attribution here.
Back in the green room, you said, hey, listen, are they flying these lower and making them more visible for a reason? And when you said that, my immediate thought was, yeah, they're sending a message. We are here. We are not scared of you. We want to show your citizens what we've got going on, and we're not trying to even hide it anymore. We're flexing our muscles. We're doing it visibly. If it is China, this is a big flex. You got 3 in a week. Big flex by China.
Okay, so
there's going to be billions of dollars bet in the Super Bowl tomorrow, by the way. I will bet right now that these are coming from China. The ones we don't know about, that's way too much of a coincidence.
So
and it is symbolism.
Very
this is President Xi
coincidental.
talking to President Biden and vice versa.
So, and we also have, we want everyone to take a listen here. Watch this. This is John Kirby and General Pat Ryder for the Biden administration says that they don't know a lot about the object that the military took down, the one over Alaska.
We do not know who owns it.
We have no further details about the object at this time, including any description of its capabilities, purpose, or origin.
I want to stress again, we don't know what entity owns this object.
Again, we don't know the point of origin of this object.
We don't really understand what this object was doing.
Okay, and we do have an update here. It is from what we were being told that it was actually Canada and the U.S. that shot down this latest high-altitude object. But, Joey, just coming off of all of those very intelligent people saying that they don't know.
I don't know that I believe anything they're saying right now. Not to call them a liar. That's not the point here. Operational security is an important thing. And so maybe they aren't being told so they can say they don't know. But I don't know who does know. And I don't know what our government does know. All I know is that the southern border is 800% more Chinese nationals coming across the southern border. All right, I know what littoral is, which is what our Marine Corps is pivoting to because we have an underwater threat. Basically, this same thing can happen underwater. We're having to worry about landmines off the coast of California right now because that's how close our enemies are getting to us. So when we talk about the average American at home, which is really all that matters in this conversation, can you trust our military and our government to make good decisions? They have the capabilities to protect us. We know that. Can you trust them to use them and use them in a diplomatic way that prevents something terrible from happening? That's what the American people are concerned about.
So, and just to clarify here, and this is all breaking news, folks, just so everybody understands, as we're having this conversation here, we're getting in more information. And just to clarify in the control room, is it our understanding that it was, in fact, just the United States military that took this down? Okay, that's a yes. So this was not Canadian military that was involved here. It was the United States that did that. But that the Canadians were, in fact, involved in this operation.
Yeah, they said go ahead and fly over our airspace and shoot it down. To think they were going to do a joint exercise with the Canadians wouldn't make a heck of a lot of sense. What I want to know is, since you brought it up, Joey, as far as like who knows what, I would believe the commander-in-chief probably has been briefed on this. And he's not in Delaware. Like he's spent, something like 210 days in Delaware. This is the rare weekend where he is at the White House hosting a black tie dinner. Will we hear from the president? Again, throw out a little more money? No, probably not.
Well, Joe, the problem with that statement is, traditionally I would agree with you. Of course, Commander-in-Chief would know. This week, we were told that there were, I don't know what the number is, 5 to 50. I've heard different numbers all week of these incidents that reportedly, according to the Obama administration, happened in the Trump administration, but someone in the military chain of command decided it was not worth briefing President Trump over. We interviewed, can't think of his name right now, but an acting Secretary of Defense on Fox and Friends this morning. He had the exact same reaction when he heard that, which was to call everyone else in the cabinet who all said, we don't remember that happening.
Right, like Mark Esper.
So are there people in the military that are making decisions that jeopardize our national security because they've been told this doesn't go to the highest level? You know, do we know that the commander-in-chief is fully briefed at all times? What we're learning now is perhaps Trump wasn't.
That's a break of the chain of command.
Well, it is, and how quickly they tried to make it about Trump. They were able to really make that Chinese spy balloon, at least initially, didn't go as they had planned. But they said, there's ones that went over during the Trump administration, too. And so they really tried to pull that card. But furthermore, I want to talk to you guys about geographically what this says. This placement of these balloons, the Chinese spy balloon, now these unidentified objects, geographically over Canada, over Alaska, and where they're pinpointing and what they're looking at. Joey, what are they looking at? Because you know better than any of us. It isn't something that we should be concerned about. I don't think that they're just looking over the Super Bowl because they wanted, good seats. They're looking over very specific areas.
It's a dome anyway.
But thanks to my friend Pete Hegseth and his maps this morning, the trajectory of the Chinese spy balloon was southern Alaska. The trajectory of the one we shot down was northern Alaska. Alaska is a very big state. That's actually a lot of land in between. So the actual path of each is very different, which is why I won't just say without any type of confirmation that I know they were from China, because Russia's right there. And it's supposedly smaller, different in size and scope and capabilities, flying lower. For all intents and purposes, the vehicle or object is much different than what we shot down from China. And so what do we do if we're in a position where we have two foes testing our might and our ability to control our own airspace? Then what do we do?
Because as much as we're watching, they are definitely watching. So
Absolutely.
we will continue to cover it and bring you any more developments as they float in.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.